Welcome to the Nautical Institute, the international body for maritime professionals. Helping our members to develop their knowledge and professionalism lies at the heart of what we do.
There's no doubt in my mind that my membership in the Nautical Institute has allowed me to grow as a mariner.
It helps you interact and network with other like-minded individuals all over the world.
Our industry is changing rapidly, and you are having to cope with new regulations, new technology, and evolving best practice.
You will actually have to link up or team up with a specific branch somewhere in the world, and they will give you feedback, their views. I think that just really adds to your professionalism, and it will basically be of great help.
Our website is the first port of call to learn more about us and the ways we can support you.
CPD Online is a program that enables maritime professionals to keep current, to keep up to date. The whole program is driven on templates that are downloadable from the website. So if you're at sea without internet access, you can download them and take them with you. They can be completed electronically or by hand. And all of the tools and guidance that you'll need to complete these templates and to follow the program through are provided online.
The Institute is a superb vehicle for ensuring professionals are able to keep up with their professional development. How else can you stay at the cutting edge?
Another great advantage of membership is the Seaways magazine, which contains many articles, is published every month and has a large amount of information for members on all kinds of shipping and nautical activities.
We have the ability to communicate with each other, voice concerns, put that either on the internet, on the website, or through Seaways.
The Institute produces a great range of publications, and as a member I receive 30% discount, which is just fantastic.
The Nautical Institute is about publishing best practice, and one of the ways that we do that is through our publications. They are written by seafarers or experts in their field for seafarers. So they're in seafarers' language. They're there to help you throughout your career as you rise through the ranks and perhaps as you come ashore and start a new discipline.
Go to our website at nautinst.org to find out more about the benefits of becoming a member. While you're there, explore the range of free resources, such as the reports submitted under our Mariners Alerting and Reporting Scheme. These confidential accounts of accidents and near misses are there to help us all stay safe, whether at sea or ashore. You'll also find out about the work we do to make our members' views known at key industry forums, including the UN's International Maritime Organization and IALA.
The Institute is at the forefront of making sure that the mariner's voice and the seafarer's voice is heard and given prominence.
I think it's really beneficial that the members' views are represented at key international forums such as the IMO, because it gives seafarers a voice.
Belonging to the Nautical Institute and Nautical Institute's philosophy of engaging with rather than disputing or debating, to constructively engage with similar bodies with a common aim of running a safe and efficient shipping. That has tremendous value to the sense of control that an individual member feels.
The Nautical Institute also offers accreditation services that support industry best practices. As a member of the Nautical Institute, you'll be entitled to use letters after your name, reflecting your professional status.
Having that experience, having those letters after my name, having the credibility of being a member of the Nautical Institute really helped me in my career.
Gave me an indication as an employer that the candidate was serious about the industry he was working in.
You'll also have access to a dedicated members area on our website that includes discounts on entry to leading industry events.
There is so much we can offer as a Nautical Institute. Our seminars, our conferences are absolutely top-notch.
I got the value of being a member of the Nautical Institute, particularly through networking. I needed to meet these people to advance my career.
Run by members for members, the Nautical Institute provides you with the ideal framework to support your professional role within the industry. Want to know more? Email us at member@nautinst.org or call us on 020 7928 1351. That's London, so dial country code 44 if calling from outside the UK. We'd love to hear from you.
We have a tendency, mariners do, to believe that our way, in our little part of the world, this must be the only way to do it. And of course, there's 1,000 ways to do it. And that broadening of our horizons, it's good for everybody. The Nautical Institute provides that platform.
It's a wonderful organisation which has an outreach which is worldwide.
Without the Nautical Institute, I don't think I would be the mariner I am today.
As an international, independent and self-governing body, the Nautical Institute is here to serve you throughout your career as a maritime professional.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Keshav Liyanage. On behalf of Youth Forum of the Nautical Institute Sri Lanka branch, let me welcome all of you to the second mini webinar on Office of the Watch webinar series. So today our topic is enclosed space can be deadly. Think before you enter. So to discuss this very important topic, we have our guest speaker, Captain Sisila Dharmawamsa. He started his sea career as a deck cadet in 1996 in Gibson Gas Tanker Company, and then again he sailed on V-Ships Company, and he became a master on 2015. Since then he's sailing as a master on gas tankers. So currently he's serving on Evergas Ship Management Company in Singapore. So apart from his professional qualifications, he's holding BSc in International Supply Chain Management. Also, in his vacation time, he's doing visiting lectures in CNEC Maritime campus on gas tanker courses, survival courses, navigation and various other company-specific trainings. So, Captain Sisila, floor is now yours. Thank you very much for participating.
Thank you very much, Keshava, and good evening, everybody. I would like to take, first of all, thanking to Nautical Institute Youth Forum for inviting me valuable meeting. Today, our topic is enclosed space can be deadly, and think before entry. So let me share my small presentation. Keshava, can you see the presentation?
Yes, Captain, we can see very clearly.
Okay. Enclosed space can be deadly. Think before you enter. This is a serious thing what we are going to talk. I hope everybody have some sort of idea what is an enclosed space. Anyway, let's see why enclosed spaces can be dangerous. According to IMO resolution, I'll read out the definition itself. The atmosphere in any enclosed spaces may be oxygen deficient or oxygen enriched and or contain flammable and or toxic gases or vapors. Such unsafe atmospheres could also subsequently occur in space previously found to be safe. Unsafe atmospheres may also be present in spaces adjacent to those spaces where hazard known to be present. What is this? This, in simple language, when we are talking about enclosed spaces, the main danger involved is lack of oxygen, or if some toxic gases collected in these spaces. This is what we are looking at mainly. Not only that, there are some other dangers also, like it can be slippery surfaces, inadequate lighting, falling from height, so many things. But today we are going to focus on the danger involved in less oxygen and some other toxic gases collected in enclosed spaces. What is an enclosed space? Then again, there is a definition for enclosed space. What is it? Limited opening for entry and exit, inadequate ventilation, and it's not designed for continuous worker occupancy. So if any of these characteristics have any space, then we have to consider as this is an enclosed space. Remember that not the three of them. If any one of them is there, then this is considered as an enclosed space. These are including, we can give some examples: cargo space, double bottom tanks, fuel tanks, ballast tanks, cargo pumps rooms, cargo compressor rooms, so on. I'm not going to read the list, but the important fact here, when you go on board every ship, there is a comprehensive list of enclosed space including in that ship, contained in that ship. This list is made out after thorough risk assessment, thorough analyzing of all the spaces there and what are the dangers involved. It can be dangerous space, enclosed space, then it is identified as enclosed space. So this list is available, readily available to everybody on board. This should be posted in common spaces and should be included into safety manuals and everything. So look for it, you can find out all the list on board. And not only that, these spaces is clearly marked with this is an enclosed space, please do not enter, or maybe enter without permission is prohibited, something like that. So if you see some warning line like that, that means this is an enclosed space. Other than that, if you have any doubt, consider as enclosed space. This is also very important. If any doubt, consider as enclosed space and do all the procedures before entering. Let's move on to some facts, some things involved in enclosed space entry and where it danger and deaths or some people get injured or these things happen. First thing I would like to point out, unplanned and poorly executed rescue attempts. What does it mean? If you take the statistic, it shows 60% of deaths in enclosed spaces come from unplanned rescue based on emotion and instinct where appropriate precautions were not taken. See the number, 60% of deaths. This is very interesting. So what it means, even though, I mean, most of the death has happened, try to rescue people from enclosed spaces, not being entering. This is the thing that we are talking this about every day. All the ship companies, all the safety courses, we are talking about this. We have so many videos, so many training sessions, but still this happens. This is the thing. So that's why this has to be taken very seriously and no any second chance. So please keep in mind that this is rescue attempts, unplanned and poorly executed rescue attempts. Why is this happen? Acting on emotion and instinct, disregarding knowledge and training. This is the human nature, no? As a human, when we see somebody is in danger, that we are tending to help. We always think, okay, we should help him. This is come into action. That's why it's acting on emotion and instinct. And this case, people forget their training, forget their knowledge, and try to help. But this can be leading to additional problem, additional danger. So people believe it won't happen to me. No, but it will someday. This is the problem. So what we have to do? Emergency rescue plan should be available, robust and regularly exercised. All these enclosed space emergency rescue plans we have to practice those, and those are regularly exercised. Training is essential. Ensure standby rescue equipment and personnel are always available at the entrance during such activities. That's why this is a planned event. We cannot enter in an enclosed space quickly as somebody thought, okay, we should go and check something. No, you can't do that. You have to have a plan. You have to have so much procedure to follow, and all standby rescue equipment must stand by, and all the personnel needed for we call the link man. Somebody must be there for communicating. You have to have a communication system established. You have to have agree with backup communication. So many things. So you have to follow all these things. Then ensure correct equipment used during rescue operations. When it comes to rescue operation, you have to use correct rescue equipment. This includes that we have to have a tripod or some lifting devices standby, right? If you try to carry by hand from enclosed space, mostly enclosed spaces are like you have to go down like maybe 10 meters down, something like that. So in this case, it's not easy to carry a person on the ladder. So you have to have some lifting devices ready. And this people who entering must wear rescue harnesses, because when you get unconscious, if somebody comes to help you, and putting the rescue harness also is very difficult. So it's better you wear the rescue harness and go inside. Then if something goes wrong, in case the person who is coming with the BA set can quickly hook up you to the rescue harness and carry you out. Then when you have drills or whatever the training period, evaluate and identify improvements. And always, because there may be ship to ship changes. If you have some enclosed space in one ship, this needs some special arrangements. So you have to identify this, and when you are entering that, this arrangement must be there. So that's why it's drill training, and drills are very important. Then there's another thing, failure to recognize all the hazards associated with enclosed space. So what are the hazards enclosed space involved in enclosed spaces? Understanding of dangerous gases. What are these? Normally we are encountering hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, inert gas, nitrogen, benzene, mercaptan. If you take chemical tanker, there are maybe so many different type of cargoes we are carrying, and most of them can be hazardous, toxic. So one other important fact, indication of oxygen deficiencies. What is this? Because decay of organic matter. Sometimes when you're carrying timber, you think that timber is just it's a natural thing, no? But it's when it's come into timber, if you try to enter in hatch where the timber carrying without ventilation, there may be oxygen deficiency, which same as with vegetable oils. Then the rust. What is the rust, right? We know that all the ships structure are made out of metal, So the metal is, when time pass, it become rusty, right? If you don't have proper protection. So when it's rust coming up, the oxygen inside that compartment is going less unless you get fresh air. So always think that if you are going to open a compartment, it's not been open for a long time, there may be oxygen deficiency. So these things everybody must know. This is what we call that understanding of our environment. Then people okay, they will think there may be oxygen deficiency, so we should be careful. This is the knowledge, right? When it comes to cargo, you can get all the details by MSDS, Material Safety Data Sheets. These are also readily available. Anybody can refer and find out what are the dangers involved with that cargo. So it's good to know. Don't wait until something happens. So have a look, quick look. These are nowadays very nicely listed. What are the dangers, and so easily you can find out. Then when it comes to these days with the ISM and everything, all the companies have so many procedures and practices, rules and regulations regarding entering into enclosed spaces. So lack of understanding or non-compliance with company procedures and industry standards. Practically, theoretically, if everybody is following company procedures, everything should be okay, because most of the companies, 99% companies have very good procedures for entering into enclosed space. Then if people, the seafarers following this, then we have to follow all the rules. All the precautions has to be taken. But still, sometimes things happen. That means we have to take into account that sometimes people not following, or maybe they don't understand company procedures. In SMS, there are permit to work system, right? So one of the permit to work system is for enclosed space entry permit. This is, if you are following an enclosed space entry permit, you have to cover all the aspects. Then if something wrong, something is not correct, then you are not allowed. The permit is not issued. So then the risk assessment is involved. So if you are having a risk assessment, you are already, before entering, you are analyzed what are the risks. So these things there. So I would like to point out one thing when we are talking about this risk assessment. Company and let's say chief officer is having his risk assessment, but whoever enter into enclosed space also have their own risk assessment. Everybody this is no need to be in writing, right? This is you don't have a book, or you don't need a book, anything. This is not official risk assessment, but you yourself assess risk. Maybe you miss some risk, but at least you will see what are the risks I have to face. If you are the person who entering, think about that. Make your risk assessment yourself. This will help. So then only you will see what are the dangers involved. So if something not correct or not happy, you can always ask. We will come into that later on. And drills need to be conducted regularly and effectively, because all the company procedures saying that drills must be conducted regularly, effectively, and training must be done, because people tend to forget. That is human nature. That's why we have to have drills, regular drill. Then we refreshing our minds, refreshing our knowledge. This will help, because you never know when the situation come to you are in danger, or maybe you need to help somebody. Both same. So both will be, we have to tackle in very effective manner. Then when you are entering into spaces, testing must be done. The testing procedure has to be followed and carry out all the testing, and continuous monitoring should be there. Then supervision. When it comes to supervision, somebody who is adequately have knowledge and responsible person must supervise the whole the procedure until complete the job. Because if it is a 15 minutes job, this danger can happen in last minute. You never know. So you have to supervise, you have to finish the job, and when everybody come out from the enclosed space, then only you can close down and seal that space, putting the notice and cancel the permit. So lack of intervention. This is a very interesting point. This is, I want to talk a little bit more on this topic. Lack of intervention. What is this? Lack of intervention. Nowadays, this topic is promoting not only in enclosed space, all safety regarding matters. This is all the companies promoting this, like intervention, stop job policy. You have in company there is a policy, stop job policy. What does it mean? So if you see something somewhere wrong, somebody is doing unsafe act, unsafe thing, if you see some danger, please speak up. No matter you are a cadet, you are AB or OS, steward, rank is immaterial. You can speak up. This is what we require at the moment. If you see something not correct, speak up. So always speak up when you feel that something is wrong. Failure to establish one team mentality on board, because ship work is actually a big teamwork. We cannot run a ship alone. Captain to cook, steward, all the ranks we need. We are in one team and running ship from A to B safely. We need this teamwork. Otherwise, sometimes it can be dangerous. So when it comes to enclosed space entry, same. Everybody in the team has to be understand the team members' duties. What are my responsibility? What is my duty? Moreover, if one member is doing something wrong, point it out. Tell this is not correct. So stop it. Pointing. So I would like to point out that human nature, that people failure to, emotionally try to help people, right? But don't help people when it is in danger. Don't wait until they went to a danger. So you can help them pointing out before go to danger, right? This is very important. So if you see something wrong, don't wait until he get in trouble. Show him what is the danger, stop the job, and you can help him in that way. It is much better. Hierarchy. This is also a problem. Sometimes, especially, okay, let's say cadets, they may think, okay, chief officer is doing something wrong and he sees very clearly, but he is afraid to talk. Due to hierarchy, he is reluctant to talk. Please, don't worry. You can point it out. But of course, you have to have good relationship. You should understand how to point it out. Don't go and shout him. Okay, we have to have the cooperation and the respect for hierarchy, right? We should on board people, hierarchy depend on the rank, the respect must be there. But showing out a thing is not a problem. Everybody on board is a leader and should lead by example, no matter what is the rank. This is what the nowadays motto. So there may be problem with different nationalities, cultural background, communication, the language barriers, so many things. But end of the day, we are in one team and we have to communicate with everybody. We have to do our job safely. So there is no problem if you show somebody is doing something wrong. And finally, if you don't understand, don't be afraid to seek clarification. This is very important. If you're not sure something, don't wait. You ask, what is it? Please explain me. This is no problem. Key message I want to tell: safety has no hierarchy or nationality. Remember that. Safety is, there is no hierarchy or nationality. Incorrect use of safety equipment. This is, I want to point out here only about this atmospheric testing equipment and personal monitors should be service and calibration in line with manufacturer's guideline. This is very important. When it is come to calibration, you have to do in time and proper procedures to be followed, because this equipment readout, we are rely on this. So maintain those equipment very carefully and do the operations according to the manuals, and you before testing or whatever, do the whatever the testing required and make sure these are working properly. Finally, we will move on to a case study where there are, I mean, this is a bit old incident, but this incident I selected because there are a lot of errors. I mean, the error chain is, you will see one by one, they have done a lot of mistake. So just have a rough idea what was happened. The chemical tanker Chem Hana, this is about chemical tanker Chem Hana, completed loading of about 960 tons of acetone at port of Kanmon in Japan and departed in early morning. The destination was the port of Chiba, again in Japanese port, in order to load methyl ethyl ketone. Subsequently, the captain was instructed by ship operator to instead head for the port Matsuyama, another Japanese port. So they changed the voyage, port and cargo both to load 1,000 tons of paraxylene due to a problem with cargo loading operation at Chiba. Captain notified the chief officer of the change of the ship's destination and cargo, as there would be insufficient time to clean the tank. If the ship went directly to Matsuyama, Captain decided to go to south of the Bungo Channel for tank cleaning and then continue to Matsuyama. So at around 1400, the chief officer, bosun, deckhand A and deckhand B started removing remaining acetone from the cargo tank, suction wells and pumps room strainers. The chief officer instructed deckhand A and B to remove acetone remaining in the suction well, starting with number 1 cargo tank and proceeding through the cargo tanks in order. But bosun advised that this would be dangerous because the gas-free fan was not operating. See the incident, what is going on, right? However, the chief officer stated that there was no danger. Then deckhand A and B put on working clothes, rubber gloves, safety shoes and canister type breathing apparatus. What is this canister type breathing apparatus? This is just a mask kind of a thing with the canister. Actually, these are not allowed to use. Okay, we'll come into that, right? Then holding plastic bucket and scoop deckhand A and B entered number 1 cargo tank at about same time, from A from left side and B from right side. There was 2 manholes, so they enter separately into the tank number 1. But deckhand B immediately left the cargo tank and returned to the deck to inform chief officer that there was a strong odor in the tank. So deckhand B came out immediately. And around 14:20, chief officer, after informing chief officer looked into the tank number 1 left side through the manhole and saw that deckhand A was lying in the bottom of the tank. And what he did, immediately the chief officer with his kinetic type breathing apparatus in place entered into number 1 tank left side, apparently lost conscious himself after 1 or 2 minutes. See what happened one by one. The bosun and deckhand B brought self-contained BA breathing apparatus from the storeroom in ship's stern and entered into the number 1 tank left. They carried the chief officer and deckhand A back to the upper deck. Then the Hana notified Japanese Coast Guard the incident and asked the assistance. A patrol boat was sent. Ship transport to the chief officer and deckhand A to the town of Oshishioma. The 2 men went in transport to the hospital, chief officer and by ambulance and deckhand by helicopter. However, tragically, both of them lost their lives. The suspected direct cause of the death for both men was asphyxiation due to inadequate oxygen. There were also concerned that acetone poisoning contributing their deaths. Let's see what was happened. What are the things went wrong? You see, there are. I select this incident because there were a lot of errors. They made lot of, not only one error. They have made so many errors one by one. Lack of awareness of the danger of the tank interior. Chief officer apparently was not aware that the tank interior was danger, or at least was only slightly aware of the potential danger. As a result, the chief officer ignored required procedures. He ignored completely procedures and decided the procedures were not needed. This is the first link in the error chain, which subsequently led into numerous further errors and unsafe actions. Improper procedures for entering and enclosed spaces. Hana had onboard manual designated by SMS for the procedure for enclosed space entry containing detailed instruction. However, the crew member either acted improperly concerning this instruction or disobeyed them, so they didn't follow. Then permission, they didn't take any kind of a permission, right? Measurement of air, enclosed space and ventilation, they didn't do. No ventilation done. Even the bosun has informed that ventilation fan was not working. Chief officer ignored. So they were not concerned about that. Then coming to protective actions. Use protective equipment that was prohibited. The manual includes the following statement concerning canister type breathing apparatus. The company does not allow use of canister type breathing apparatus in enclosed spaces because these devices, due to their specification, do not protect the user from excessive levels of hydrocarbons and toxic gases from insufficient oxygen. So this is not allowed. Then the rescue. The chief officer did not use sufficient protective equipment and try to attempt to rescue deckhand. Right? So there are some other items also. Like when you go deep into the situation, this commercial pressure, the change of destination and the cargo created time restriction. So maybe chief officer want to do it in hurry. Then stop job. Chief officer didn't listen to bosun's advice. There was no risk management or meeting prior to cleaning. So many things has happened. So you saw by looking at this incident, we have to have a proper plan, proper way of doing this, and otherwise it can be end up in death. So we can talk many more, but my time is going to finish. So I would like to thank you again to Nautical Institute Youth Forum to giving me the opportunity to talk, and hope you get something out of this. And please be safe on board, not only enclosed space entry, all others aspect. Probably we will talk in future, and I wish you all smooth sailing. Be safe. Thank you, Keshava. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Captain. We really appreciate your input. It was very, actually, it is very in-depth subject. I can really understand it is a quite challenge to summarize this whole thing just to about 30 minutes time. And we are very lucky to have you today just to summarize and share your experience, including a case study. Thank you very much, Captain. So, gentlemen, I have to make a few announcements. One is we do understand today we have about a power cut in most of the area. So, despite of that, we have a very huge participation, and we do understand a lot of Navy personnel and cadets and junior officers. They are joining in one device as well. So, however, due to these circumstances, we decide to record this event and share this webinar session in our upcoming YouTube channel, so that everybody can watch this one and learn and reach to more participants. However, to all the participants here, I encourage you, I already saw about 2 people raising the hands, so I informed them also. Whatever your questions, please feel free to add to the chat, so that accordingly I will distribute to our panelists. We have very experienced and very knowledgeable 2 panelists, so I will raise the questions to them. So one of the panelists is Dr. Nipun Silva. So previously to our youth forum, we received some more questions. So I will raise to the Dr. Nipun Silva. So regarding the Dr. Nipun, he's a medical officer in anesthesiology in intensive care unit in District General Hospital, Negombo. He has work experience in emergency treatment units and intensive care units in private sector as well, such as Navaloka, Hemas, Derdens, and a few other private sector hospitals. So I think with his immense knowledge about emergency treatment and intensive care, so one of the question raised was like, we have gas detectors on board, so we detect oxygen and hydrogen sulfide, carbon monoxide, and LEL level, so that hydrocarbons. So doctor, can you please briefly explain to us with your medical knowledge how these gases is going to affect our body? Doctor, over to you. Can you hear me?
Yes. So I think everybody can hear me.
Yes, doctor, we can hear you very clearly.
So,
thank you.
These gases, actually our system is, our human body is designed to utilize oxygen and expire carbon dioxide. Whatever the other gases come into our body, they depending on their chemical composition and the reactivity, they have the tendency to remain inert in our body, or else they will exert their action. So the major gases which we are concerned in this context are the carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide, and the hydrocarbons. If we talk about those gases, carbon monoxide, it has a higher affinity. I mean, it binds to the oxygen carrying molecules. We have the oxygen carrying molecules in our body, so oxygen binds to them. For an example, if we take oxygen binds to them with the likelihood of 10 times, right? These carbon monoxides bind to these oxygen carrying molecules with a affinity for likability of about 100 times more than the oxygen. So, and it's an irreversible bond. So it makes, even if we have oxygen, when there's the presence of carbon monoxide, they get into our system and bind tightly to the oxygen carrying molecules, which are hemoglobin. So it's irreversible. You can't take it out. You have to metabolize the hemoglobin and take the necessary out, and you have to newly build the hemoglobin molecules to have the oxygen carrying capacity. So in that way, if carbon monoxide gets bound to our hemoglobin in excessive level, even though we have oxygen, we don't have the way of supplying them to the tissues. So that's how ultimately you are having a lack of oxygen situation, and that's how your tissues die without oxygen. In an environment where there's a low amount of oxygen, in the normal air we have 20%, 20.93%, so almost 21%. So if the oxygen level is lesser than that, the body doesn't have that ability to get the, if there's 1% oxygen, body can't utilize. If there's something like 16%, it may be able to utilize, but below 16% oxygen, body can't utilize the oxygen. As well as the this atmospheric pressure. We talk about these things in the atmospheric pressure level. So if it is the pressure is lower than that, then also even the oxygen percentage is there. If the pressure is lower, then also our body can't take this oxygen and consume them. So with regard to the hydrogen sulfide is a very irritative gas, right? When you inhale that, it has the tendency of it's an acidic and irritative gas. So your airways become hyper responsive. That means they react very rapidly, and the phlegm, the moist and the phlegm, the watery substance, they secrete into the airways and they become blocked. So you can't take in oxygen, neither you can take out the carbon dioxide as well through the breathing. So that's how usually these irritative gases affect. And when you take the hydrocarbons in the theaters and the ICUs and the theaters,
Doctor, can you hear me? I think we got some technical issue. Can you hear me, Doctor? Can you hear me? Okay, I think we got some technical issue. So I will move on to next question. So for this, we have another very expert in the subject. So by name, he's Chief Engineer Ramesh Jayakodi. So he's very well versed both at sea and also shore. So he has sailing experience on various type of ships, such as containers, crude oil carriers, product tankers, chemical tankers, and fully pressurized LPG carriers as well. So apart from his excellent sea career, he's working on shore as a technical superintendent, a DPA, CSO, and a crew manager as well. So, and he's holding Master of Business Administration and currently sailing as a Chief Engineer on LPG vessels. We are very lucky to have you, Chief Engineer Ramesh. Sir, can you please, we got some question like SOLAS requirement. I think this is about the gas detection equipment. Could you please briefly explain about the requirement on this detection equipment.
Yeah, right. Can you hear me?
Yes, Chief, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay, that's good. First of all, please accept my apology because I had something unforeseen came up at the beginning, so I got a little bit delayed to join the meeting. I apologize on behalf of everybody and the organizing committee and everything. Okay, the entering into enclosed space, SOLAS requirement is to protect every seafarer because we are talking about the marine community right now. SOLAS have given the requirements for the gas detection equipment in SOLAS chapter 11.1, specially measure to enhance maritime safety in regulation 7. These regulation numbers are a little bit difficult to remember by the seafarers who are working on board in day-to-day. We all know that this is a very important subject when you're talking
sorry to disturb you.
Yes.
Chief, I think we have some issue with your video input. Can you please check?
Okay, let me check.
Okay, yeah, we can see you very clearly. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Okay. Yeah, this is SOLAS chapter 11, regulation 7. It's coming under the SOLAS. I think that is. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Chief, we can hear you very clearly.
Okay, all right. So as I said, SOLAS chapter 11.1, regulation 7 is the governing sentences about the gas detection equipment with regard to entering into enclosed space is there. But if you look at the seafarers who are working on board and particularly to the subject of entering into enclosed space, the remembering of SOLAS regulation is a little bit difficult. But the thing is, they should know that there is a regulation in SOLAS and they should be able to follow that regulation by the guidance of their superiors. That is the most important part. But if you're trying to find the regulation on the book and trying to remember it, it will be difficult. But the important part is, it is mentioned in SOLAS and it is written very clearly in black and white. And if there is any doubt, they should always can refer to the SOLAS book which is available on board. This the seafarer should know. I think this suffices your query.
Yes, Chief, very clear answer. Thank you so much. And we have one more question raised from the participant. I think this is quite relevant to you as a very experienced chief engineer. So what are the common enclosed entry situation in engine room, especially with reference to routine maintenance of equipment? Can you please brief
right, okay. Yeah, this is very important actually. And I will talk about about the engine room. Mostly it comes to the tank cleaning process. So tank cleaning is the most common area where we have to practice our enclosed space entry in the engine room. Or sometimes when we have a boiler survey, we will have to go into the boiler. Or sometimes we will have to go to CO2 room. When I say the CO2 room, this sounds a little funny, but the regulations has mentioned in some of the companies, even entering into the CO2 room has to be considered as an enclosed space. Personally, my view is that it should not be like that. But unfortunately, it is mentioned there because in case of an emergency, you have to go to the CO2 room to release the CO2 to protect the ship. But just to answer the questions, the most common areas that falling in the engine room is the tank cleaning, where you have to enter a tank. When you have a boiler survey or getting internal spaces of the boiler, or going to the CO2 room, or sometimes you have to go to the pump room when you consider the tankers. The pump room is considered as an enclosed space because the special safety measures are provided on the tankers. So those are the 4 areas mainly you have to consider about the enclosed space when you are working on ships pertaining to the engine room stuff. Is it all right? Is there anything that you want to know?
Just to add one more thing, like So now we discuss about the normal enclosed space entry precautions. So anything apart from the normal requirements and normal dangers, anything special that would you like to mention with reference to especially like engine room enclosed space entries? Any sort of?
Nothing special, but I have been listening to the lecture at the beginning. I want to emphasize here all seafarers should know when to say stop when they feel a danger. And the doctor explained about the dangers in the subject. So if there is any doubt, irrespective of any other concerns, the seafarer should be able to say no and put the foot down, saying no, this is not the way to enter the enclosed space, or I feel a danger, I want to clear this one. This I want to add this to the forum, because most of the seafarers, they will be considering about they will feel insecure about the job if they say no, if there's a danger. So, but seafarer doesn't have to be like that. They have to say no, this danger has to be eliminated. That is in the part of the process where you carry out the risk assessment before you do the enclosed space entry. I think that has to be memorized very well.
Thank you very much, Chief. This is a very good point. So for our young seafarers and young Sri Lanka Navy officers, so what you emphasize, especially you as a chief engineer and master mariner, Captain Cecil also. So this is a very, very good point what you brought. So you actually encourage us to say no when it is a matter of safety. So this is a very good point, and thank you so much. And we have a lot of questions flooding to our chat, and one of the question, I think this is directly relevant to our doctor. So the question is, why does humans collapse when toxic gases are inhaled? Like, why suddenly, why don't we the other part of that before any other primary survival instincts kicking? So I think what he want to know is like, how come we don't understand this one? Why we like before we understand why we directly going to collapse or unconscious? So what is the reason behind of this? Doctor, can you please explain to us about the this as well? Dr. Nipun, can you hear me? Okay, I think we have some issue with that one. Let me, Chief, we have one question. Who has the final responsibility in charge of enclosed space operation on board? Who decide the job and approve the job? So this is from Paulis. He have raised this question. Did you got the question?
Yes, I got the question. Yes, I got the question. Yes. You see, every vessel, there is a nominated safety officer on board. In common manner, this is the chief officer who is in charge of the safety matters on board. Chief officer decides the space is safe to enter, then the master gives the final authority by putting his signature. He accepts the process. So you have to remember not the rank, but who is the safety officer on board. He is the one who signs it, and then ultimately, master being the overall responsibility, he will put his signature. So safety officer is the one who authorized the entry by making sure all the safety precautions are in place and all the safety measures have been taken before the entry. I hope that I gave the answer to it.
Yes, thank you, Chief. And Captain, I think you also with us. So we have another question. Can you please explain about the work permit? So can you just briefly explain this on, Captain?
Okay, Keshava. Work permit. When it's come to work permit is there for there are a lot of works on board, routine and non-routine works we carrying on board. We have this work permit system. I will little bit talk about this work permit system related to enclosed space because we are talking about enclosed space today. This is basically the procedures we have to follow. This means that what we have to do, what we have to check, what precautions we have to do, what are the backup systems, all the test results, everything is included in the work permit. This is a kind of a, in simple way, we can say it's a checklist, right? When you are going to do some risky job, and you prepare a checklist and take one by one. Okay, is this okay? Is this safe? This is with standard to the company standards or industry standards. Like that, we are make suring this job is good to go ahead. That's why in work permit, so you have so many sections. Some are kind of a checklist. Some you have to fill like figures of atmosphere readings, oxygen levels, if any other gases, if you found what are the levels, what are the gases, what are the frequencies, then you have to agree who are the people going to enter. This is kind of a legal thing also. Now this work permit system is a legal thing. If something goes wrong, then first thing they will ask, where is the work permit? This is a legal thing. It can go up to a court level, right? So
thank you.
If you complete a work permit, basically you are safe to do the job. If you follow on and keep on all the procedures, you are safe to do the job basically. So there can be something goes wrong in between, but if you follow the job, this is what the work permit in basic way.
Thank you very much, Captain, to your brief explanation about the question. So I think we have the doctor again with us. Doctor, this question is over to you. What are the first aid we should be provide in this kind of situation, in enclosed space entry situation? Can you briefly explain about the first aid and the casualty handling and the rescue part? Briefly, can you please touch on that? Over to you, Doctor.
With regard to the first aid, actually, what happens to us is, if you have inhaled carbon monoxide, there's no first aid to be given. Just you have to supply him with the oxygen, artificial oxygen, and no matter how much you supply, you have these sophisticated things, the ventilators, there are ECMO machines, different levels you can supply oxygen into our body. But if the body doesn't have the capacity to carry the oxygen, that is what is happening. What is affecting with the carbon monoxide is they are killing the hemoglobin molecules in our body. So there's no way of doing anything rather than you wait your body to build up the substantial amount of hemoglobin and come back to the normal situation. But if you inhale a substantial amount of carbon monoxide, there's no way of reviving you again. So that's with the carbon monoxide. Inhalation and other agents which knocks down you fully, then what happens is you stop breathing. So we can artificially provide oxygen, but depending on how much time is taken to rescue you, it's like if you are deprived of oxygen, if you run out of oxygen for 6 minutes, that's enough for your brain cells to be dead permanently, fully. So even if you revive again, even if the people are able to revive you again, your brain will be dead. So your heart will be functioning, your lung will be functioning, but you can sense nothing, you can't respond to anything. So it's like a vegetative state, which we call. So those sort of people, we find them from these brain injuries such as road traffic accidents, or else these people who are unconscious and whose heart or lungs has been stopped for a while, we resuscitate and take out. So those people actually what we usually do with those kind of people, if the relatives are willing, we can get the organs from them. Other than that, you can't have any hope on them. And these irritative gases, if you are lucky enough to come out of that danger, and if we can give the oxygen to you artificially, then you might be able to survive. But apart from these gases which we talk about, carbon monoxide, the hydrocarbons and the hydrogen sulfide, there might be so many other inhalational agents which can give the effect of knocking down you fully, or else irritative to the gas waves and just impair the functions of these lungs, and or else something like the carbon monoxide is the main killer in those instances where you can't do anything if you inhale substantial amount. So my get home message for you is do not attempt to do any risk, any brave things. You have to stick to your basics. You have to know your basics. There are standard protocols, steps to follow in a situation, so you have to follow that. And main aim of those things is to protect yourself from dangers. So even if for the rescuers, you have to protect yourself, because you know that there's some person unconscious, so he needs help in a situation. So if you go into that situation without any protective equipment, so you will also be a victim of that thing. So you have to understand that first of all. As our speaker said at the beginning, so the emotions take over the knowledge and the experience we have. But with the experience, people tend to do lesser mistakes. So best way is to learn from the others' experience as well. So my message is not to do any heroic things. Just follow your protocols, and if you are not sure to do what to do in a situation, just don't do it. Right? First of all, you have to have your basics. So the protocols, the guidelines, steps will teach you what to do. And if you are not sure about a situation in any way, just don't do it.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Actually, a lot of medical questions are flooding to the chat. There is one more question to you, Doctor. This is asking, if a casualty has fallen unconscious due to inhaling toxic gases, does the AED shock, this is we have on board our external defibrillator, automated external defibrillators. So this shock, does that one going to help? Can you just briefly explain and give answer to this question as well, Doctor? Doctor, can you hear me? Doctor, can you hear me? Okay, so we have one more question. Actually, it's not only the maritime personnel here with us today. We got one question from Nansela as well. So actually, his question is about the he's a academic research person. So what is his question is, do you have statistic of enclosed space related casualties 2020, 21 and 22 also? So just to understand the gravity of this risk. So actually this is a very academic and research-based question. Chief Engineer Ramesh, would you able to give us some brief explanation to this question, we will really appreciate you, not on behalf of the sailors, but on behalf of the academic staff as well.
Yes, I think you can hear me right now.
Yes, Chief, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, there has been many researches has been done on the danger of enclosed space entries, and international group has conducted an extensive research, and they have gathered some data. The source can be found in the internet actually. The source is called the International Cargo Handling Coordination Association. They have conducted research and gathered the statistics since 2015 to 2020, if I'm not mistaken, and they have found that the deaths caused by the enclosed space entry and the mismanagement the number goes up to 83 deaths. For the period of 5 years, there has been 83 deaths, and more than 50% is due to lack of oxygen. And then the area, if you consider the area of the vessel, the 80% of the deaths has been occurred in the cargo spaces. So you can see, okay, 83 is a huge number, but even one death with the trained people on board, this should not happen. So when I say the trained people, it's not only the management, even the subordinates and all the other participation, including the cadets and the ordinary seamen. They should know the danger. So doctor is explaining very nicely the dangers in the enclosed space entry. So you can see the statistics: 83 deaths in 5 years in the community of seafarers. This is a massive failure. So this should not happen. If you are well educated and if you are well mannered person on board, this can be avoided. I think I have given a sufficient answer. Is it?
Thank you very much, Chief. We are very lucky to have you. Not only to the seafarers and merchant navy personnel, but also to the Sri Lanka Navy personnel, and apart from that one, to the this kind of academic personnel with the statistic. You clearly showed us the gravity of the situation, and that is the basic idea of conducting this webinar for everybody to understand how dangerous this issue is. So though we get a lot of questions, our initial plan was to have this webinar for 1 hour. So we will take one final question. Of course, this is again going to the doctor. So the question is, if a casualty has fallen unconscious due to inhaling toxic gases, does the AED, automated, we have on board automated external defibrillators, AED we call it in short term. So does this shock is going to help them? Doctor, can you just briefly give an answer to this question?
Yeah, these automated external defibrillators, I think almost all of you have a basic idea of the basic life support. So automated external defibrillator, AEDs, are used to defibrillate the heart. So the problem here is when we talk about the confined spaces, it's with the gases and your lungs and those systems. So yeah, you can use it in a situation if you are able to take the patient into a safe environment, and then you find that the patient's heart has stopped. So you feel the pulse, and then you start the CPR. So if you have a cardiac monitor or else this AED, you can fix this. And when you are resuscitating, when you are giving the CPR, if the AED detects there's a shockable rhythm, then it automatically defibrillates. There's nothing to do with the gases you inhale. It's just the process of attempting CPR. You're trying to revive the patient heart. So in that instance, it would be helpful. Other than that, when you consider the agents which you have inhaled, there's nothing the AED can do for you. So it would be the ventilators. If something is going to help, it would be the ventilators. But I don't think that you have these sophisticated ventilators in your system, and it will be effective if it is given within a certain amount of time. I mean, if a person has fallen unconscious, and if you can revive him within 5 to 10 minutes, provided that he is left with some amount of oxygen, so then these will be helpful. But in an environment where you don't have sufficient substantial oxygen levels, and your brain is deprived of oxygen for 6 minutes, totally deprived, so that's enough for you to have a total brain death. And when considering the higher functions of the brain, something like you talk, you act as a man, human being, so those functions, the cells which are responsible for those functions, they cannot withstand of the low oxygen situation for more than 2 minutes. The 6 minutes is for the total brain. So even if you are revived after such an incident, your higher functions, this thinking ability as a man, would be deprived. So I think you can understand the gravity of the situation. So if you are to encounter a situation, if you are going to go into a enclosed space, if you are to encounter a situation to revive a person who has fallen unconscious or who needs help, first of all, you have to think about your safety. If you go and fall there, and if you are also in help, so no one can help the other guy, and someone has to come and help you. So that will make the situation worse. So the rescuers mainly have to think about their self. If you are not in a safe position, you can't help the other people as well. I think I'm clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Doctor. Actually, this is what we want to hear from a resource person like from you. So you gave a very detailed and very valuable explanation, and this is very important for us to understand the gravity of the situation. So thank you very much, gentlemen. So this is the conclusion of our webinar. So before that, I would really like to take this opportunity to give our warmest appreciation and thanks for the speakers to spending their valuable time for the benefit of future young Sri Lankan seafarers and the Merchant Navy officers. So thank you so much for the speaker and the panelists. And then again for the chairman and the executive committee of the Nautical Institute Sri Lanka branch. Thank you for giving the opportunity for the Youth Forum to conduct this webinar series. And of course, in our Youth Forum lead team, thank you for all the various support you give. And for the participant, actually this is really encouraging. With this much of difficulties, we got very high participation and of course a lot of questions. Thank you for raising them, and this is really encouraging us. Not only here, but even with our WhatsApp group chat, you can continuously raise the questions, and we will try to answer all these questions with the support of our specialists for all your questions. And then please, that's all for the today, and stay tuned with us for our next webinar. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, good night, and thank you all for arranging such a fruitful seminar. Thank you very much. It's a webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen.